Press start.
Hello, my name is Chris. I go by Shade or Shadebox online, and I'm here today to introduce everyone to an ailment called amblyopia. This ailment is basically the inability to create 3D images with the human eyes and the human mind. The way the human brain normally functions is the human eye is taken two separate images that are slightly offset from each other because of the distance between the two eyes, and the human brain takes those images and overlays them together into one image that is 3D. It basically interprets 3D based on those two images. My eyes do not have the ability to do that. They have amblyopia, which basically means that the brain can see either one image or the other image. It cannot see both at the same time, which basically means that I have no depth perception. I cannot perceive the distance that a object is just by looking at it normally. Throughout my life, I've dealt with this. It's made things like sports really difficult. Learning to drive was difficult, but I learned to adapt by doing other things to figure out depth. So, for example, perception was big on learning how to drive and how I drive now. If I have a pedestrian walking down the street, I am able to tell how far away the pedestrian is based on other objects around it. So fire hydrants, sidewalk, marking on the ground on the street, other vehicles, other pedestrians. Seeing proximity of things and kind of bouncing from something really close all the way up to where that pedestrian is allows me to perceive pseudo distance. It's not true depth, but it allows me to be able to tell enough to keep myself and others safe when I'm doing things. But unfortunately for things like sports, where it's a lot of fast action and there's only a couple of objects out in the field, it's really difficult for me to perceive that really fast. I'd have to really work hard at it, and it's significantly harder for me to be able to adapt to it compared to other people. So I didn't realize I had this ailment until probably my mid-teens, early 20s, when I really started to get into activities that required it. By that time, eye doctors had told me, sorry, there's not much we can do for you. The typical therapies that exist are significantly less effective after you've reached age 7, and beyond that it becomes exponentially less likely to work. And so by the time I had started looking into it, they basically said there's a 0 chance this is going to help you. Fast forward into the mid 2000s, into the 2010s, VR tech started to really take off in the PC world and in console world. Oculus and HTC started creating some really powerful headsets that people really started to adapt and started to utilize. A individual created a piece of software that at the time was called Amblyopia. Started it in 2014, had a Kickstarter for it, and met its goal. Basically, the idea was that they figured out that if you have a VR headset on, you have individual eye control of what you can see with each eye. So you can force one eye to see something that the other one doesn't see, and vice versa. And you can specifically control perception and dominance in your eyes, and you can force overlays by saying, and I'll show you in the other videos as they go along, but you're able to have one image on one side and a different image on the other side that are supposed to bleed together. And in order to create that full image, your eyes are forced to work on it. So the idea was, if you do this repetitively, use the software repetitively, because you have that much granular control, that people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to their 80s now have the possibility of correcting this issue. So when the time came around for the Kickstarter to end, and then it went to beta, I watched it for a long time, waited for it to come out of beta so I can buy it and start working with it. As soon as it went out of beta, boom, it became clinical only, which meant that the only way to get it was to talk to an eye doctor. Unfortunately, where I live in Portland, Oregon, there weren't any eye clinics that were currently doing it at the time, and this was 2016, 2017 when it went clinical. So they had a mailing list that says, hey, just get on here. More and more people are getting to it. I said, okay, fine. I didn't have a lot of hope because it was new tech. I wasn't expecting it to take off. Who knew what was going to happen with it? But it was the only bastion of hope I had at the time. So I figured there's no harm, put myself on the mailing list, waited. Years later, I started to receive emails that, hey, clinics are starting to get it closer and closer to you. First it was one 3 hours away. I was like, oh, that's not gonna work. Then it was one 2.5 hours away. That's not gonna work either because there's in-office stuff and I'm not gonna take a 6-hour round trip just to work on this. It wasn't until earlier this year in June, late May, early June, that I got the notice that there was one within 30 minutes of me. And immediately that same day that I got that email, I had made my appointment, gone in, and we started the procedure. So that's what I've been working on. This video is an introduction to that. I will have a series of videos showcasing what I go through, both in the VR and some of the stuff in the office. I'm hoping to get some interviews with the eye doctor, possibly some of my previous eye doctors, and maybe even talk to the person who developed the software. But the point of this video and the videos that follow is to showcase the stuff that I go through to deal with this ailment that I have, and to hopefully provide others who have this ailment a glimmer of hope to showcase, is this possible? Will this work for you? So I hope that you find it informative. I hope that you find it possibly entertaining. If you guys want more information, I'll be happy to provide links or make more videos for it. Just let me know. In the meantime, just kind of browse through and enjoy the videos. I'll be uploading them a little bit at a time and going through my whole therapy process. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me blab on about this hopefully amazing journey that I go on, and I hope that you guys stick around, and I hope for the best. It's really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to what may come on the other end. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Later.